suddenly seems so clear.
I was a killer who killed for you. I had to choose. I chose her. She must suffer to her last breath. You and I have unfinished business.
Baby, you ain't kidding.
And welcome back to the SuperCaZt, everybody. I'm your host, the man that puts super in SuperCaZt, the Super Foch. And as always, I'm joined by my good buddy and co-host, Steve Z. Steve, how's it going, man?
I'm just going okay. It's been a tough week. Very busy with work and everything, but to top it all off, we're still in the midst of moving, which everybody knows is never good, never fun. Yeah, but at least we've taken the opportunity to clean out our house and get rid of some stuff that we didn't need, and just that in itself feels kind of cathartic, but definitely realize how much junk you have whenever you're moving.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, when me and my wife moved into this house, we've still got boxes, and we've been in this house for, 5 years now? And we've still got boxes in the garage we hadn't even touched, so, you know. But unlike you, we don't have kids, so, you know, we don't have that going for us. But, yeah, moving's never fun, man. It's
No, it should be punishment in some countries.
I would agree with that. I tell you what, man. Between sickness and job stuff and you moving, we've been through it. But we thank you guys for giving us just a few minutes of your time to listen to us. And before we get started, if you are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. That really helps us out a lot. Make sure you like the video if you're listening to us on YouTube, and share us with your friends. You know, get everybody else to join the party. We are just a couple of regular Joes that loves movies, loves talking about movies, and we love Tarantino films. So, welcome.
Yep, and we're doing another one here. And I think before we get into it, Volume 2, I just want to talk a little bit about just Tarantino films in general. Like, sure. I'm not going to say they're like their own genre of film, but it kind of feels like it. Like, his movies are just different. I know the first three kind of grouped them together as like these ultra-violent crime type movies. But then after that, he's kind of gotten crazy, especially these past few is kind of like reimagined history and things like that. Films have a lot of comedy, they have a lot of action, they have great dialogue. But what do you think it makes a good Tarantino film?
Oh, man. And I'll be honest with you, man. I was late to the party. My wife loves Tarantino. You love Tarantino from way back. And I finally got it. I finally figured it out. You know, what makes his style so... And it's really unique. I think, you know, in a world of a lot of parody and stuff, I feel like that Tarantino still is very noticeable with his own style. He's a little bit maybe more rough around the edges. Maybe some of the plot is a little bit, you know, more violent, maybe a little bit more violent, stuff like that. What about you, man? I mean, what really brings you into the camp of a Tarantino film? Like, what really excites you, or do you like about what Tarantino does as far as filmmaking, his style, that sort of thing?
I think for the most part, it's the tone. Yeah. Like, his movies are movies for movie heads or people that love film, I think. Because as we were talking about the last episode, a lot of his stuff is derivative. It's based off of stuff you've seen before. A lot of the shots of stuff you've seen before. But I think he still makes it his own. And not to borrow too much from our last episode. But I think that's the big thing, is because there's going to be comedy interspersed in there. A lot of times where you're just going to be dying laughing. That's what really made me fall in love with stuff like Pulp Fiction. I was like, this is basically a comedy. Even the newest film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is one of the funniest comedies I've seen in years.
Great film.
So I like that aspect of it. And I guess that goes back to the writing, which is the thing that kind of got him on the map as a writer. I like that a lot. But at the same time, I just like it how he likes to bend the rules a lot. And I think that's great to see in a filmmaker. I don't like people making just the standard films. And that's why when I sit down to watch a Tarantino film, I know I'm not going to be sleepy while watching it. I've started these movies past midnight several times and stayed up for the whole thing. So I really like that excitement. I like that energy. It's sort of that je ne sais quoi. Just I can't really put my finger on what that is.
I think one impressive thing about Tarantino is he knows exactly what he wants when he figures it out. Like, he doesn't have to probably ask a bunch of people like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? He may do that anyway, I don't know. But he just seems like the type that when he starts on a project, and as we said, he's done a lot of writing, so, you know, all of this is coming out of his head. And he just seems the type that knows exactly what he wants as far as the plot goes and what kind of a film that he wants to share. And I really admire that. I really think that's cool because, as we said, he's very unique. He's got his own particular style that even people that probably haven't seen a Tarantino film can kind of recognize it and be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Just because it is just so daring, I guess is the best way. Even this one with Kill Bill and Kill Bill Volume 2, I mean, he took some chances with some stuff as far as like violence, and there's a lot of people that don't care for that, and I respect that. You know, that's cool. But what I think he does so well is he crafts a really interesting story. So it's not just that it's violence just to be violent. It's violence part of the story. You know, like we said with the first Kill Bill film, I mean, I had forgotten how violent the first one was, and the second one for that matter. But the story's so good and the characters are so well defined that, at least for my sake, and I'm sure yours too, doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and the violence generally it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I was thinking back to maybe Inglourious Bastards has a few scenes that are kind of brutal to watch.
Yeah.
But I think most of it is it's not going to make you squirm in your chair as you're watching it. It's going to be like, well, you're laughing along with him. Because I've heard him before talk about how basically people that are offended by this is like, you just don't get the joke. You don't understand what he's going for. And I'm definitely in the camp of understanding what he's going for and enjoy it. And I know a lot of people nowadays, it's kind of like the fashionable thing to hate on him because, as we said last episode, a lot of it is derivative.
Yeah.
And just seems like he's borrowing a lot from others. But I just still think he's a very unique filmmaker, like you were saying. And definitely does have a style or a flair of his own. Yep. I'm not going to say all of his movies reach the upper echelon for me, but I think when he's really hidden, there's generally, like, other than Kill Bill Volume 1, which I decided last time was my favorite of the faves, after that, there's like 3 or 4 that are just basically tied for me.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of what it is. It's almost like, what day of the week is it? Okay, this one's my favorite for now. That's kind of how I feel about it. What about you? Is there any that you just, like, stand out and you're just like, this is my favorite, or is it kind of like me, you just can't make up your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what. The movie that really officially sold me on Tarantino, as far as like, oh man, yeah, this guy's really, really good, was Django. Django Unchained just knocked my socks off, and I was like, all right, this is really cool. And then came Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think that might be my personal favorite. But oh my gosh, man, going back and watching Kill Bill Volume 1 was amazing. Like, it might be his best made film. I don't know if it's my personal favorite, but I would almost argue that Kill Bill Volume 1 especially might be his best film. So, you know, it's just like you said, it just depends on day of the week, I guess. I think a lot of his films have interesting characters that you just can't get out of your head, and the performances, like you know, Uma Thurman, I mean, if she's known for any other role or any role in her career, at least for my money, it would be this one. So, I mean, just the performances that he gets out of people that already do good work, but then it just goes to another level somehow. And I think that's definitely the case with Uma in these two films.
Yeah, I think so. She's great. And building off what you were saying, like, yeah, Django's none of my favorite, but as you were talking about that, I was like, man, DiCaprio and Django
as
the villain.
Yep.
I mean, He's never done a performance like that, and I think that's why, like the other one you brought up, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it might be my favorite because it's probably my favorite Brad Pitt performance. It might be my favorite DiCaprio.
Yeah.
That's one. That one is tied with, in my book, with Jackie Brown. I really love that film a lot. And after that, it's also, I could probably throw in, well, actually, might be just those two that are on the second tier behind Kill Bill Volume 1. Maybe one day we should do a ranking of these.
I think we should. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think that'd be a good exercise to at least try to bandy about and figure out which one we like better. But let's get into this one.
Yeah.
So this film, I went and watched it in the theater opening weekend yet again, like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had a lot of anticipation behind it because the first one just blew my socks off and made me into a fan. And came out on DVD actually like the week or two before Volume 2 came out. And I probably watched it 2 or 3 times that weekend. Went and watched this, and I don't want to get into my experience with that right now, but I just will say it's highly anticipated, and I didn't totally get exactly what I thought I was going to get.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I start off with this one anyway.
Yeah, I actually somehow remember watching this with you the first time. I feel like I was with you. Like we went to the theater together somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But
I remember we watched the first two first one and this one back to back.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted you to see that David Carradine monologue that comes later in the film.
Yeah, and I really love the second one better than the first one, as I said when we were doing the first movie. And now it's almost like the complete opposite. It's like I love the first one. I had no hate for this movie. I love it. It was a great time. But just like you said a minute ago, I don't know if it lives up to the standard of the first film. And that's interesting that it took me, being 40 now, and to watch this movie with this viewpoint. And I'm like, yeah, the movie's great. And it's got some good scenes in there, and it's got really good performances. But if I had to say, I really think the first one is just a little bit better. If you love this film still better than the first one, more power to you. I completely understand. As far as for me, I have to say I have to reverse how I felt back as a teenager in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try not to compare them too much because I don't think that's fair to this film.
That's true.
And definitely not fair to all the people listening to sit here so this is why Volume 1 is better than Volume 2.
Right.
I guess let's just try to get into the nature. Why did he split them and how they are different? So I think he split them. Well, actually, I know why he split them is because the movie was too long. It was going to be like a 4-hour movie, and where he split them is kind of interesting to me because I think it creates two films that feel nothing alike. The first one is so action heavy with a lot of comedy thrown in there, a little bit of story development, but this one is kind of like the deeper part. It gets into the characters more. It's a lot slower, a little bit of action, but it's kind of that's secondary. I think it's more about the characters and the dialogue in this one, which makes it more of a Tarantino-esque film. As we were saying last time, I think Volume 1's like an outlier for him, so it's very action heavy and got Yuan Ping in there to help him out with that. And I love that. I think he did a great job with just capturing that old kung fu martial arts type film thing. But this one, I know he's trying to go for a spaghetti western type thing.
Right.
And I think he kind of gets there, but doesn't get totally there for me. And I don't want to be too critical of it, but I believe that's the way you have to approach this film, is not really thinking that it's going to be anything like the first one.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a disappointment just because I had so much fun with the first one. I mean, there's just so many crazy action sequences, and the dialogue's great, which the dialogue is good in this film as well. But I don't know, I really felt like he had something with the first one, and with this one, I don't know. I want to leave the floor to you, man. You're more the expert. Do you feel like he intentionally wanted to make this film different, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's the way it went down. I don't know what his intentional plan. I've never seen the whole bloody affair where they kind of splice them together and re-edit in different order. I think that would make a totally different film experience. But for this one, it almost seems like it has a little too less of action for me. I want a little bit more. That being said, I still think the character development and just learning more about them and what drives them and just the dialogue, I think, is better in this one. I think it's got some. I'm not gonna say it's funnier. I think both of them are kind of funny. They both have their moments, but this one, I don't know. I'll get into it more when we talk about the climax and everything.
Oh yeah.
Watching it now, it just didn't hit me as much as I like a film like this too. Especially if we spent nearly 4 hours building up to the killing Bill, you know?
Yeah.
But that being said, we are going to sing its praises and talk about all that stuff. But yeah, I wish we could see the whole thing and see what he originally planned and just kind of experience it that way, because I think it would help with some of the pacing issues that you get into this one.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, and we'll probably come back to again later, if this is your favorite, please leave comments in the bottom and help us kind of understand what we're missing out here.
Right.
But I think the big thing is they do a great job of starting this one off. Obviously, the epic Kill Bill music playing, and she's basically does the trailer for the whole movie at the beginning. I remember that was featured in the trailer.
Yeah.
Then we open up with Bud, played by Michael Madsen, talking with Bill, played by David Carradine. And you haven't seen Bill at all the whole time, and they just kind of just throw him in there. It's like, here's Bill. And talking to Bud, and I guess this is how I want to start off with is Bud as Sidewinder, Michael Madsen. What do you have to say about this performance and what he does in the story?
Yeah, I think the one thing about this performance that I like is it's not necessarily like hilarious, but he's just pretty funny. There's a lot more, like you said, I think you said it a minute ago, there's a lot more humor. This one seemed a bit funnier. Like he leaned in more to the comedy, and I think Bud was kind of a good example of that.
Yeah, I think this character is very interesting. Like, I don't understand how this guy went from being an assassin to living in a trailer, being literal trailer trash, working at a strip joint, and then being really treated like trash there. It's kind of like he gets into it with his boss at the beginning, and we kind of feel bad for him. At least I did, especially having to go clean up that mess in the restroom. I'm glad they didn't show that. That would have been definitely a bad sighting, whatever that is. But I feel bad for the guy, and then I still want him to get killed. I mean, that's part of the thing. Is this guy brought about the death of the bride, and I just think it's an interesting character. I really like Michael Madsen in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in.
Right.
And I think he does a great job with this part because he's funny, like you were saying, but he's also kind of a dirtbag, kind of an evil guy.
Yeah.
He's just an SOB. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think he plays it well. Obviously, you're not supposed to like this guy, and you don't really have too much. I mean, yeah, you kind of feel bad for him, sure, but he's not the greatest of role models out there. But an interesting character, and I really enjoyed his performance a lot.
Yeah, and since I don't have my notes in front of me, I misspoke earlier. This is actually the second chapter of the film that I'm talking about. The first chapter is actually the cool black and white flashback sequence where we see pretty much everything that happened before the massacre. And that part I still like a lot, even though it kind of drags a little bit. Yeah, I like it. This is a great way to introduce Bill playing this pipe, or not this pipe, this flute, and sort of seeing kind of where Uma thought her life was going to go, or the bride thought her life was going to go, settling down with Tommy, marrying these people, living in this little podunk town. Very interesting scene, kind of funny. Got the random Samuel L. Jackson cameo in there, and it's just a classic Tarantino scene because a lot of dialogue, some humor thrown in there. We get to know more about the characters, Bill in particular. And then it's going to all end in violence, just out of nowhere. Got anything to say about that scene?
Yeah, it was intense, man. Like, the way he shoots these scenes, I love the black and white part a lot, because it just adds to it, in my opinion. This movie, it's almost like a scene out of a noir or something like that.
A little bit. They have a lot of shots that are heavily inspired by like The Searchers, I know. Like where she's standing in the doorway, looks like John Wayne standing there, and then come out to the porch and you see Bill out there with his wooden pipe, or I keep wanting to say pipe, his wooden flute. Yeah. And he's playing that. And I just now thought about that. That might be a callback to Party Played in the 70s. It was supposed to be a movie that Bruce Lee starred in and actually wrote the script for, but David Carradine playing it's like something like the silent flute. I don't know if that's a callback to that or not.
Could be.
But we'll get into him more later because I just think he's probably the biggest selling point of this film is David Carradine as Bill.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I like this scene because it kind of catches you off guard because the first one started off with a bang, literally, and then it went into the song with the credits, and then we got some action right off the bat with the Vernita Green fight. And this one just takes its time. It's just like breathe in this area, see what this character was like before her life got ruined. And it's pretty nice while you're enjoying that, but then it just is tragically taken away. It makes it more impactful, I think, seeing how this whole thing went down, how they were just basically, Bill was playing along. He's like, yeah, I'll give her away. I'll let her get married. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of assassins show up outside the house and come in shooting everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the real big pluses for me as far as the stories concerned with both of these films, is that Tarantino really makes you understand the bride, as she's called, what she's been through, so that when she goes on a rampage, like she does in the first one and then in this one as well, you know where she's coming from, you know what she's been through, and you cheer her on as opposed to maybe not knowing what her backstory is and that she's just a killer, like she's just some cold-blooded, thing. No, this is a woman that got screwed out of her life, and she's coming for blood. And that was just something that you didn't see, or at least I guess you started to see back in the 2000s. Where you had parts like that, especially for women like that. And I don't think there's a woman then, or maybe even now, that really could have played the part of the bride as better than what Uma did. Like, to the point where you feel bad for her because her life's been ripped away, but then you cheer for her when she's getting her revenge. And I think that's one of the biggest pluses for both films, is that David Carradine and his performance, Uma and her performance, and of course Michael and everybody else. But I think those two specifically, their performances are just so good and so well defined. You can't help but root for what the bride's doing,
Yeah, and I guess talk about her now as we get into it. As you said earlier, this is probably her best acting. This? I mean, she's great in Pulp Fiction, obviously.
Sure.
Probably some other great performances out there, but these two films, this character is her defining character.
Yep.
Because she does it all. She plays action. She is emotional. She's funny. She's sexy. She's got it all. And this scene with her and Bill at the beginning, it's a good sort of bookend to the one at the end of the movie. But I didn't think about that until just structurally. Yeah. It's neat that they start the movie off together and they end the movie together. And I think she does her most emotional stuff. We'll come back to the end. The part where she discovers BB, that is just insane acting, in my opinion. Just
agree,
because I feel that with her. I feel the emotion of what it'd be like to discover this thing that I thought I was avenging this whole time is actually, she's still alive. And it's kind of terrible. That's probably the worst thing that Bill does to her, I think.
Yep.
But we'll get into that more later. I want to get back to Bud just because we kind of drove past him because I jumped around in the plot. Yeah. But this guy, so he throws you off. He makes you think that he's just some drunkie, or I should say alkie, just kind of like can't fight or anything. The bride, we think she's going to get the jump on him, kill him pretty easily. She jumps into the trailer and he just blasts her with a shotgun. And then proceeds to do the worst thing ever, buries her alive. And this, to me, is the closest she gets to death in both films. And probably the most effective scene in the movie is this buried alive scene.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah. What it's like for her in there. I just remember in the theater, the whole place is dark. You just hear her talking or her breathing and panicking. And for a while there, yeah, you just have panic. And then finally she calms down and starts to come up with a plan. And that's what the bride's all about. She doesn't give up. And I think this is a great little part of the film, even though it kind of slows it down.
I mean, is there anything more frightening than getting buried alive and not being able to fight your way out of there? But as you said, the one thing about this character that I think is so well defined, and I think Uma's performance really sells it, is that no matter what she's going through, no matter what she has to do, she's going to come out of the situation. And whether it's the buried alive thing in this movie or in the first one, when she's basically commanding her toe. And again, that's not something that I think any actress could play. I think that's definitely to Uma's credit, is that you just sense that fighting spirit and unwilling to give up. And I think that's one of the best things about the character, is that she's getting all this stuff put on her and she's still fighting. She's still going. She's buried alive. I mean, she probably should be dead at this point, and yet she still fights. And I think that's one of the best things about this film, especially this one, but even the first one too, is that this character is just all about fighting and fighting for survival and fighting to stay, literally head above water. And I love that about this character.
I do too, and I think we get the best view of that with the Pai Mei flashback.
Oh, yeah.
Because we see sort of how did she become such a hardened person. Right. And we get that with this great scene that I remember. This was my favorite scene when I watched it in the theater, was this Pai Mei training sequence.
Yep.
Because Gordon Liu gets introduced, and he is just this kind of a turd. He's just this crotchety old man who just thinks she's just this stupid white lady that can't hold her own, and basically hardens her up, treats her terrible, doesn't let her eat, beats her hands, makes her try to learn the 1-inch punch, which to me, that's my favorite writing in this, actually. This whole movie is how they allude to it whenever she's training to do it, and that's how she gets out of the coffin. But what do you think about this Pai Mei training, and just how does this enhance the movie and the character to you?
Well, I mean, it shows that she's human, and it shows that she is, and that's another thing too, that she's not a superhero, and she's getting back on the horse with these things, and I think it's just really inspiring. And I think that's why I love this film so much, is that it just inspires you to, no matter what your station in life is, if you still have air in your lungs, you can get out of a whatever negative situation you have. And if that is your goal, and like this character, then nobody can stop you. And I think that's what this character really portrays in this part.
Yeah, and Pai Mei, he's trying to break her. He belittles her. Right. He makes fun of her.
Yep.
He abuses her. But he knew that was going to make her strong. That basically, with this type of training, if I just kind of coddle you or give you as much food or whatever, it's not going to work. And that wouldn't work for her, because she comes in, she's all cocky. She's like, I know how to use a sword. I'm pretty awesome. And he's just like, you know nothing. You are stupid. You are dumb. And I just said the same thing twice, basically. But it's really cool, because then by the end of it, she can do it. She's awesome. Yeah. She's stronger. And he brought that out of her.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, my favorite scene in this whole film is when she punches out of the coffin. Doing the 1-inch punch, which...
Yes.
Did you know it's a real deal? Do you know people out there that can really do that?
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Bruce Lee do it?
I might have.
It's crazy. Like I've seen, they have videos on YouTube, and he'll basically do it to a person and fling them across the room.
Dang.
Like it's just basically the idea behind it is you're getting all your power behind this one little thing, taking it all in there, and it's really cool. I mean, it's great because this movie does make a lot of references to other kung fu movies and stuff and techniques. Some of them are kind of imaginary, but this is one that I thought was great, just because how else is she going to get out of this coffin? If nobody comes and rescues her, The 1-inch punch is the only way you get out of there. So I love it how he kind of wrote this scene and let her do this. And the music in it is great too. This is my favorite music they put on the Ennio Morricone, and she gets out. It's pretty epic, but the tension's released when she gets out, and then she's like covered in dust, and she's walking down the street, and they're like, "Get have some water." She walks into that bar and everything. It's a great scene. It's my favorite part because we go from the training where they allude to it. She punches her way out, and then we end with a little bit of comedy. Go get some water from the diner.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these films is the use of comedy, and it's not slapstick or anything like that, but it's just kind of a subtle thing. And I love how he subtly uses comedy. I guess keep it a little lighter. I guess because that's the thing. These films are pretty heavy, and when you have the violence that she does, and just thinking about being buried alive, that's just crazy. So I love the fact that Tarantino can have these scenes where it kind of lightens the mood a little bit and lets you know you're having a good time.
Yeah, and now this is where we get to probably my only performance in both series that I'm going to kind of critique a little bit.
All right, go ahead, man.
Daryl Hannah as Elle Driver. She just doesn't do it for me, and I think it's because, and it might be the direction that Tarantino's given her to play it like you're in a comic book or play it like you're not real at all. Because to me, like all the others, they have this silly flair to them. They have this larger than life persona. But to me, with her acting, she's the only one that seems like she's going over the top with it. What do you think about the character Elle Driver and just her performance?
It's funny. I almost forgot about her until you mentioned her just now. Yeah.
Well, she's one of the 5 assassins she has to kill, so she's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. But I just wasn't overly impressed. I think it's a character that I would have liked to see more of. Maybe a little bit more of a backstory on her. I don't know. And it wasn't necessarily her performance of the character was bad. It's just the lack of information to me. And, maybe I missed stuff, but I would have thought she would have been a bigger part, personally. But,
well, she's billed as that. And that might be where I'm kind of frustrated with her character is she was trained by Pai Mei as well.
Yeah.
And the first movie, they kind of hit her up as the bride's like major rival.
Right.
And they have this fight. Yes, Hanzo versus Hanzo in this trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess this is just Tarantino subverting her expectations again because she's billed as this superpower, this somebody on par with her, but the bride just kind of messes her up and then rips her eyeball out and steps on it. It's pretty brutal. Yeah. I do like the fact that she kind of backstabs Bud. I think that's kind of what you would want to see from these types of assassins, that she just pull out the Black Mamba and kill him. So I like that aspect, but I don't know. I think it's just kind of was a big letdown because keep in mind, I was thinking about this movie for a whole year. Yeah. Or actually longer than a year because she was in the first trailer and the whole trailer fight scene. So I thought this was going to be an epic part of the movie, and it ended up being only like 2 minutes in a short little fight.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I really felt like it was, and maybe things changed. Maybe something changed. Maybe Tarantino decided to go a different way for some reason. I don't know.
I can only think maybe he just wanted to mess with us yet again. Just subvert your expectations. Like you think you're going to get another big epic battle, but no. Yeah. It's just going to be this short little thing where her eye's going to get ripped out. And
right.
On a small note, this is the movie that introduced me to a Black Mamba, which eventually gets used a lot as we all think of Kobe and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Once again, showing you that Tarantino's a kind of a trendsetter and kind of ahead of the game. But I don't know. Daryl Hannah, I just think she plays the part a little too big, especially when she's like, I killed your master, and now I'm going to kill you. I don't know. Just that line delivery always cracks me up a little bit, but I think that might be the point, and I'm just kind of like not in on the joke. Like I was critiquing other people for being on it earlier, so maybe I just need to get over it and just kind of accept things for the way they are.
Yeah, you never know.
We got one last guy we have to talk about here.
Yeah.
So Bill, played by David Carradine. Have you seen anything with David Carradine prior to this movie?
I have not, man. I have not. Um, he was in something else, wasn't he? I mean, I know he's in a lot of stuff, but I didn't realize he's actually been dead since 2009. I didn't think it's been that long. That's crazy. His performance, and you mentioned a minute ago that he wasn't really in the first one, except there towards the end. And what little bit he's in the first one really makes you excited for this film, because you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be. And I don't think I got enough David Carradine in this film, man. I'm telling you, like, his performance is great and everything, and I love the character of Bill. I mean, only somebody like David Carradine play this, I think. But I felt a little shortchanged on him as well, man.
Yeah, well, he's the best in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
he's why I will watch this movie again, because as we were saying, the first one, Chef's Kiss, amazing. This one, as we've already said, it has some critiques we have for it, but I think he makes the movie just because he demands the presence. And getting back to answer my question that I asked you, I did know who David Carradine was before this, because I used to watch this show called Kung Fu.
Oh, yeah.
And I started watching with the Kung Fu The Legend Continues. Then my dad said, oh, yeah, I used to watch this show back in the 70s called Kung Fu. And I watched that. So I thought this guy was awesome back then. And then when I found out he was Bill, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And he blew my mind, because I did not know he was this good of an actor. I did not know he could do what he does with Tarantino's dialogue. And
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just go on these crazy monologues. And at the same time, he's such a terrible dude that you just love to hate.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he's charming. And I think that's why they call him the Snake Charmer, his commanding presence on screen. But at the same time, he's just a turd. I cannot believe it, what he's done in this movie. Like, he kills her and everybody at the wedding, but he's like, yeah, I was sorry, I was a little upset. It's just like, no big deal, I was just a little upset. And then the thing with the daughter.
Oh my
gosh.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine just, he goes through the trouble of raising this girl for all these years, and I'm sure a part of him loves her, but just to rub it in Kiddo's face, as we finally learn her name is Beatrix Kiddo.
Right.
It's just so terrible. Like, I cannot believe how evil this guy is.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got this charm about him. And, of course, the voice is amazing. And just the presence that David has in this film. You say it all the time, and we've already said it here. But, like, I couldn't think of anybody else that could have done this role any better than what we had here. And the fact that he can be so charming, yet, like you said, so awful. Just downright awful. I mean, I think it's a combination of good writing and good performing. And, man, he is just kicking butt the whole time. Like, just amazing performance. And he's very subtle. He's not over the top. He's not corny. He's not cartoony or anything like that. He's just sort of, just plays everything just slow and chill, and you're just like, you're kind of scared. It's almost like he's like a horror character or something. He could just come around the corner and scare you or whatever. I don't know, but his performance is just so man, you love to hate him. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the thing that typifies that most, I think, is that after she puts BB to bed, she comes in there, and that's when you kind of realize what he was trying to do the whole long. He was trying to disarm her a little bit, trying to make her bring her guard down, because she came in with her sword. She's about to go do some battle, probably try to kill him right off the bat. But he makes her let her guard down. And then he just pulls out a gun, shoots her with darts, and has this long monologue talking about Superman and how Clark Kent is the mask.
I had forgotten about that part, man.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie, is because he gets down. He's just like, every other superhero puts on a costume to become that superhero, but not Superman. I think that's very profound and shows you great dialogue that Tarantino's known for, but also David Carradine just delivers it so well.
His presence on screen is just amazing, and like I said, very charming in a sense, but also downright scary, man. Just downright frightening. It's terrifying.
It's scary because, I mean, you turn your back on him, he's going to stab you in the back. So it's just one of those things. And once again, this is the part of the film that didn't sit well with me when I went and watched it in the theater. because I was loving it. I was still loving the dialogue.
Right.
There is one scene leading up to this I did not like so much, and that's the one with supposed to be Bill's sort of adopted father type guy.
Yeah.
That scene still, I'm just kind of like, okay, what are we watching here? Why is this going on for like 10 minutes? But I don't want to spend too much time on that. But the final confrontation, and I guess again, it's subverting our expectations. But this thing got built up in my mind for years and years. What do you think about it? Do you have any thoughts on this final confrontation and how she kills Bill?
I mean, look, we're all waiting for it, right? The title of the film is Kill Bill, so you know it's got to at least, come down to that, right? I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it does what it's supposed to. Is it the greatest ending to a film ever? I don't know. I'm going to leave that to you because you're more the expert with these and everything. What about you, man?
Well, I think the way it's shot and the action, very anticlimactic. That's what kind of brought me down. But I think from like a writing standpoint and from how it's executed, I think it kind of works. Because you do kind of sympathize with him. You feel like, okay, this guy's been pretty good for the past few years. He's taking care of the kid. Maybe she won't kill him. And then they have their little, just basically, he tries to kill the bride there, and then they have a short little swapping hands, and then he gets the 5-finger death palm done to him, and doesn't kill him right away because that's not what the technique does. He just walks off and his heart explodes. But yet again, just like the 1-inch punch, I like how they alluded to it earlier.
Yeah.
And I like it when he realizes they taught you the 5-palm death punch.
Dude, is that what they talk about in the Batman episode?
I don't think it's the same thing, no.
Okay. Because that's what I was thinking about when I was watching that. I was like, I think this is in that Batman episode where he fights that ninja.
No, I think that's just classic things you see in Kung Fu, these secret hidden techniques and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I think his finale's pretty good because he goes up with a smile on his face. He walks off, still holding his dignity. And they have some good music playing while that all is going down. So that part is okay, even though at the same time, I would have liked to seen another epic scene like we saw at the end of Volume 1. That's just kind of what I came for. Didn't get it. I left kind of satisfied, but at the same time not so satisfied.
I mean, you think it would have been better? Let's say he dies or something, and then she walks off. Is that what you're kind of thinking about?
I don't know. I just... it never sat well with me just that this fight that's been building up for so long ends in about 10 seconds. And I know I should get over that. And I still kind of like that the bride did get to be happy in the end. Even though she went through a lot of trauma. I think that even when it's all said and done, as she's crying on the floor, she's happy that she gets to live this life, but it still felt like there's some regrets there that she had to do what she did. It's definitely a conflicted scene, but I don't know. This is why I'm so hating on this movie so much this time. Is as it goes to the final credits and it shows like everybody's been in these 2 movies. Every time they show something from Volume 1, I'm just like, oh yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8s, awesome. The Crazy 88s, awesome. Oh, there's Bud. I don't feel the same emotional attachment to the second one that I do the first one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, it is a little bit of a letdown as far as compared to the first one. I think the first one, just, I don't know, like it's hard to explain, really, but maybe that's it. Maybe the first one was just so good that anything that came after that, I don't know. You guys let us know. If you love the second one, anybody that's out there listening to us, if you love the second one and you think the second one is on par, let us know. Tell us, because we're not trying to hate on it, as you can tell, or hopefully you can tell, because I did enjoy this movie. I did enjoy the characters, but as far as where the story could have gone, I really felt like, I don't even wouldn't know if I could say better. I just felt like it's a little bit of a letdown for me. As you said, at the top.
Yeah, it is, and that's the part of me that never can get over it with this movie. I still enjoy it. I still like the acting. I still like a lot of the musical cues. I mean, I love the spaghetti western feel that it goes for on a few shots and some of this stuff. Sure. I really wish he would have leaned in that more personally, because I think that's kind of what he wanted to do. That he was basically saying, okay, this first one is my love for martial arts movies. The second one's my love for like spaghetti westerns. And I guess that's what made him go back and do Django and Hateful Eight eventually, is that he just felt like didn't totally capture it. But I really wish he would lean in that more and had more of that type of stuff. Which I guess as I think about that, the final confrontation does play out more like a sort of a showdown with guns. I mean, you guys think about it. It's always the long build-up, and then the guns get shot, and it's over in like 5 seconds. So maybe that's what he was going for with that final confrontation. But I just definitely have mixed feelings about this film. I don't want to hate on it too much. I'm going to celebrate for what it is. It deepens the understanding of the characters. Got some great performances in there. And I think it's a little bit longer. I think it still gets the job done, though.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble about this film. We do love this film. We do love Tarantino. And who knows? We still got some out there that we haven't talked about on this channel. So if you'd like for us to do some more episodes talking about Mr. Tarantino, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that, as well as far as also follow us on Twitter or X or whatever it's called at SuperCaZt. Any final thoughts, man, as we wrap up this little 2-part episode for the Kill Bill saga?
Well, I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad I got to watch these movies again in beautiful 4K, and it's great that we're getting more movies out there like that.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Steve, it was a pleasure as always, man. Have a lot of fun with this. Again, make sure you share this video with your friends who don't know that we're out there, and we'll all just become one big happy movie family together, guys. For SuperCaZt, I'm the SuperCaZt. We'll see you guys next time on the SuperCaZt.